Miss Fern,
Oh, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. How about yourself, young lady?
Oh, you know what? I'm doing much better now that I have my audit shit done.
Good.
Oh, let me tell what a doozy. And then after that was that I was like, okay, let me just get together 2025 stuff. It's like, oh, how can I prepare for this now in case they say, oh, we want to check you out again in 2 years.
Right. Let's hope not. I'm glad that worked out though. Oh man,
Oh,
goodness. I know
I
that's
hope not
stressful.
either. It was so stressful. Let me tell you, it was just
Did everything stay the same?
Um, it was a couple of dollars here and there, but I'm not
Okay.
gonna,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Most of
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same because it pulled directly from QuickBooks. So whatever
Yeah, see?
discrepancy, yeah. But
That's a
um,
win.
but like you said, just give them what they asked.
As
I
a jet and no more. No
No
more.
more. I was like, oh, should I put in my board of directors meeting notes? And I'm like,
See?
like, no, no, no.
Yeah,
If they
nope.
ask it, then fine. If they don't, it's like,
Bingo.
here it is. You want to
Oh,
see all
good.
the receipts? Yeah.
I'm glad we talked then. I'm glad we talked.
Me
Yeah.
too. But oh yeah.
That
So
is
for all you,
fantastic.
but thankfully for somebody like you who helps with the numbers, right? Where
There you
we're
go. That's what we're here to do.
not our jam, when it's not your jam.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you're here, Fern. I think this is gonna be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I made this one just for you therapists. So I'm like excited. So the
Oh, this is
when
gonna
I
be
ran this
perfect.
workshop it was like a general one, but now it's like, oh, let's make this just for
Oh,
this
even
particular
better.
audience.
Even better. That's why you're amazing. Yay, this is good. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, it normally takes people a few minutes to kind
No
of show
worries.
up. Here we go.
We'll
So
just
we'll
chat.
we'll get going. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll normally lead in and ask just a couple people to share some few wins at the top. And then of course I will go into your intro and then we'll get it kicked off and the floor will be yours after we do that.
Sure. Just give me. Oh, are you making me co-host so I can share my slides? That'd be great.
Yes, I will. I will.
So I hope all of you have gotten your paperwork together so Alan can fix your taxes.
Right? Hey Tiana. Hey Tammy. Let's see. No, let me do this.
Hello.
Hey Tiana.
Hello.
Hey Fern, just to confirm, you are still doing your workshop on the 26th, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
That
I'm
one is
sure
going.
you'll mention it, but I wanted to throw it out
Yes,
as
yes,
well.
yes, 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 yes. That is going to be like how do you sell without being salesy?
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's good. I might join that one myself. Pick up some tips from the Jedi Master herself.
Yes, I am as wrinkled as
Afternoon,
Yoda.
everyone. Hello.
Hello.
Hey Tammy.
Emmy.
How lovely to see you all and beautiful faces.
Yes, indeed. Tiana, get us kicked off. Give us a win.
Um, what's this week? You know what? I got to do absolutely nothing on Saturday. That's a win to me.
That is definitely a win. I would agree. I would absolutely agree with that. Hey there, Brandon.
Yeah.
Hey, give us a win, Brandon. Give us a win you got going with.
Hmm. Let me think. Uh, right now, I'm alive. That's all I got right now. I woke up, had a good night's sleep.
Hey, that's hey, sometimes it's like that. Nothing wrong with
Hmm.
that.
Nothing wrong with that. You know.
For real. Oh, that's good. Daylight savings didn't hit you too bad, did it, Brandon?
No, it's still annoying. I was like, man, these people keep, why do they keep playing with time? Leave time alone, and let what I mean. Sandra, my wife just telling me all the bad stuff that happens behind the lack of sleep because of daylight savings time, like strokes are up and all types of health issues because of like the changes in the sleep patterns because of the time. I'm like, man, they're trying to kill us, man.
Interesting, because I think there's two states. I think Arizona and
I
one
feel like
other state
Hawaii. I feel like Hawaii doesn't do it.
don't do daylight savings. Yeah, I think it's like, oh no, it's not two states. I think it's a little more than it's like three or four, something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
Hawaii doesn't need extra sunshine. It's got plenty of sunshine.
Right.
right. Exactly. Exactly. Good. All right. Let's
It
see
was
here.
Hawaii and most of Arizona. Those are the only two.
Oh, that's it. Okay, Arizona.
Not
Yeah,
all
for
of it,
some
but
reason
most. Yeah.
Arizona stood out to me on that one.
Yeah. Huh.
Let's
Interesting.
see here.
I moved to
Hey, Miss
Arizona.
Portia. Let's see.
Greetings,
How you
everyone.
doing today, Portia?
I'm great.
Good. Give us a win, Portia.
I knew you were going to ask this. I always know you're going to ask this, and I always have
Yes.
an answer. And for me, it's never about having an answer, it's about paring it down.
There you go.
Um, so my win is like
Mhm.
I am acknowledging my own mindset shift.
Mhm.
When I'm seeing 25 clients a week, which is a
Mhm.
lot, I mean, like
Mhm.
consistently for months and months and months. I took that as a mark of achievement, but I now realize that in a lot of ways that was holding me back from having like
Mhm.
creative space
Mhm.
to be able to take care of some other administrative things, to develop some other things that I wanted to develop. Because at the end of the day and at the end of the week, after you see that many people, like I'm checked out.
That's it. Yep, that's it.
So yeah, that mindset shift of
Good.
seeing less, doing more.
That is beautiful. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. Well, I
Now,
say
hold on.
let's
Tammy needs to share her win.
oh,
I
go
didn't hear
ahead.
a win from Miss
Oh,
Tammy.
you're right.
She's all quiet
Go
over
ahead,
there. I
Tammy.
see you.
Thank you,
Good
Fern. You sure right.
morning. Good morning, all. So
Morning.
a win for me, even though we are just getting started. Friday we will be wrapping up our S Corp taxes. And it's a date that I anticipate from year to year to year to year. And I'm excited about it. I am absolutely excited about it. I'm not all, "Ooh." So that's a
I
That's
love
the
it.
exact opposite of how I feel about it, but
Portia, you and I.
the exact
Right.
opposite of how I feel about it.
Right. What about you, Miss Ebony?
Oh, Alan. All right. So Tammy's wrapping up the S Corp. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna put that under my feet and dust it off for this tax season, hopefully, because my phone will stop ringing as much as it is already. So that'll be a good thing for me. That'll be a win also for me.
Well, good. Fantastic. Alrighty then. And you know what? Actually, well, I'll give you one. I actually got a chance to go out this weekend, daylight savings and all. Went out with a good friend of mine who owns a CPA firm. Her and I always are, chatting, sharing notes and whatnot. And I met her much of the same through a community like this, and we kept in touch for years now. Fern, Joy, Joy Brandon.
Yes.
She's actually in Houston, because she's in Charlotte. She was in Houston. Actually, Joy, Fern, and I all met in the same coaching group, mastermind group, and so her and I keep up, and so of course Fern and I the same. We had a good catch up a couple weeks ago. So anyway, so no, I got to hang out with her this weekend. by the time I actually got home with the daylight savings, it was. Uh-oh.
I think people stop listening to legacy media.
Ooh, I think that's you,
Who
Portia.
is?
That back. Here's what I know.
Oh,
The president has invited me
oh,
with
I
him
just gave it to you.
times.
Hold
He's
on,
been
let's see.
nothing.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, so we actually we went out on the town in Houston, and by the time I actually got home with daylight savings, it was 4:30 in the morning.
No.
And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So technically it was 3:30, but with the time change. But anyways, we all had an absolute blast. So that was a win for me because that never happens. I'm
I
too
don't know
old to
what-
be out
I
that
need a
late.
nap. I'm gonna last that long.
No,
Jesus.
no kidding, right? No kidding. But
Sometimes you
we
gotta
made it
show
through.
people you still got it out.
Hey,
That's true.
still got it. Still got it. So it was fun. So no, we had an absolute blast. So good. And Fern, whenever you're in Houston, hey, we're gonna do the same.
That's right.
We're gonna go out and tear it up and do the same.
I mean, I need a nap beforehand.
Man, no kidding, right? For real. You and me both. All right, guys. Well, I am super excited about today because you guys are about to hear from a what I call an absolute powerhouse in the presentation platform of just how to give better presentations, how to not suck at presentations. And so I have a little bit of an intro for her, but in true Fern fashion, I like hers so much better. So I want to read her actual intro. So please, ladies and gentlemen, meet Fern Chan, who is the communication Jedi master, a TED Talk speaker. And if you didn't catch it in the community, we posted it last week. We posted her TED Talk in the community as well. And she is the best-selling author of How to Not Suck at Presentations. This sassy mompreneur ditched her 9 to 5 in higher education to become the force behind Fern Chan Ventures, where she absolutely transforms business leaders, entrepreneurs, and educators and therapists into communication powerhouses who command any room and every room that they walk into. When she's not delivering keynotes at the UN in Vienna and New York or empowering fellow moms to conquer the business world, you'll find her hogging the karaoke mic or nose deep into historical whodunits. With the badassery of Leah and the wisdom of Yoda, Fern is on a mission to banish boring intros, forgettable presentations, and lifeless messaging to a galaxy far, far, far away. So, without further ado, please, Miss Fern Chan, take it
Why,
away.
thank you so much for that wonderful intro that I wrote.
Right?
But-
I had one, but yours is just so much better. But
Oh,
this is
thank
what you
you.
do. So
It
I
is
love
what I
it.
do. But let me jump into it so you all can see that. Make sure you all can see my presentation. So let me know that you can see the screen. Yes?
It is pulling up. I think so. You're good.
I'm good? Okay, good. Because sometimes, it's like I can't see you all. And then I'm like, where did the chat button go? All right. So grateful that you are all here today and to play full out. So this is boring to badass intro. It's going to be kind of action packed. Really excited to show you how you can introduce yourself in a way that will stand out and stick in people's minds. And then you no longer dread answering that most common networking question. What do you do? Right now, before we get into some of the frameworks, I want to name something that might already be happening in your mind. Now, some of you might be thinking, I didn't get into this field to sell myself. I got into therapy to help people. Marketing feels kind of weird. Self-promotion might be a little icky, maybe even ethically questionable. If that's you, well, then good. That instinct is why you're great at what you do. You care. You're in this work because you want to make a difference in people's lives, not because you want to be a brand. But here's the big but, right? People need you most people who need you most can't find you if you sound like every other therapist on the internet. So this isn't about being salesy, not even about being performative. It's about being findable. It's about saying what you do in a way that makes people someone who's been Googling therapists near me at midnight and then finally think, oh, this one gets it. And this one might actually understand what I'm going through. So I just want to do a little reframe for you today that I don't want you to think of this as marketing, but this is empathy pointing outward because you already know how to make people feel seen in session. So I'm going to teach you how to make people feel seen before they even walk through the door. Sound good? Okay, let me see some thumbs up. All right, so let me just do a quick little check-in. Let me see some hands up or virtual thumbs up. So just want to make sure that we're on the same place. So how many of you, when someone at a party or a networking event asks what you do, you default to something like this? Hi, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Or maybe you say like, oh, I'm an LMFT specializing in anxiety and depression using CBT and EMDR informed approach. Is that any of you? I hope not.
Good question.
Right.
Sounds like you hit the nail on the head.
Oh, listen, my husband's like, I'm in IT. I'm like, so my husband, I know we've all done this, right? Now, how many of you have given that intro and then watch that person kind of smile politely, nod slowly, and then say, oh, that must be really rewarding. And then they pivot to talk about the weather. And how many of you have like a profile that, and I say this with love, sounds almost identical to every other therapist in your zip code? Right? Using words like warm, compassionate, non-judgmental, evidence-based, safe space. All right, anyone? Yeah. And how many of you secretly wish that when you told someone what you did, they'd say, oh my God, tell me more about that? But they rarely do. Right? So here's the problem with a lot of our introductions. Most of our introductions are very informational and they're not intriguing. And if your intro doesn't create curiosity, it creates closure. That's it. End of discussion. No mas. You got nowhere to go when attention is your currency and people have lost interest. You do not have them at hello. Right? So this really isn't a confidence problem for most of you. You all know what you do, but nobody taught you how to talk about it in a way that actually makes people care. And more importantly, makes the right person think, that's the therapist I need. Right? So a lot of us are taught to state our credentials. We're going to list our modalities, describe our specialties. I get it. We worked hard enough. You all have to get like, oh my God, years and years of training. So I don't want to discount that. But that's not how connection works. And you all people know that. You know that connection doesn't come from a list of your qualifications. It comes from someone feeling understood. So what you need isn't more charisma, more credentials on your wall. You just need a framework to better structure what you're saying, who you are, and what you do. So by the end of this hour, I'm going to give you 2 frameworks you can use immediately, 2 different intros. One is called the wait, what? So it's a 2-second, 3-second intro. And the other one is the tell me more. So that's like 20 seconds. So it'll give you like 30 seconds that can change how people perceive you, remember you, and want to work with you. So think of your wait, what as like the punchy hook, and the tell me more is your closer. All right. Now, Alan was very kind and he gave me a wonderful, wonderful intro. But in case you're new to my world, I'm Fern, and think of me as a personal trainer for your words. And I've spent over 15 years helping people communicate under pressure, law enforcement, especially when things are at heightened senses and people like lose their shit. So a lot of people in those high stakes communications They're the same skills whether you're pitching to investors or introducing yourself at a networking event, right? It comes down to having a structure that works so you're never at a loss for words. Okay, let's get into the wait what. Now, this is the short one, the punchy one, the one you use when someone asks you what you do and you've got about one sentence, whether they decide to lean in or start scanning the room for that appetizer table. So, the goal of the wait what is not to explain what you do. And I know this sounds really counterintuitive, especially for therapists, because you're trained to be precise and accurate and ethical in how you describe your work. But hear me on this. The goal is not to explain what you do. The goal is to make somebody say, wait, what do you mean by that? And that's it. That's the whole job, right? It's to open a loop. You want to create a question mark in their head, then you can earn the next 30 seconds of their attention. But what most people try to do is they cram their entire practice into one sentence. They want to be clear, comprehensive, accurate, so they throw in their license type, their modalities, their specialties, their theoretical orientation, and what they end up with is something that sounds technically correct, but completely forgettable, right? Let me give you an example and see if this rings true. I'm a licensed professional counselor specializing in anxiety, depression, and life transitions using a person-centered and CBT informed approach. Alan, I see you chuckling.
Yep, absolutely.
It's
That
not
sounds
wrong.
is that
Right.
about right, Brandon?
I see some nods. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So it's not wrong, right? But it's kind of a little dead on arrival. So nobody hears that and thinks, oh my God, tell me everything. They're probably thinking, oh, that's nice. And then they take a sip of their drink and then they're trying to look for an exit. Right. So here's what I want you to hear. Your credentials and your modalities do matter to other clinicians. They matter in a case consultation, they matter on your license application, but they're not going to matter to the person sitting on their couch at 11 p.m. wondering if therapy could actually help. That person doesn't know what EMDR stands for or CBT. They kind of don't care about your theoretical orientation. They just know they can't stop snapping at their kids and they feel like shit about it. Right? So, the wait what goes in the other direction. Instead of trying to say everything, you say something interesting, something a little unexpected, something that doesn't quite make sense until they ask you to explain it. And that's the magic, because now they're asking you to talk about your work. So you didn't pitch, you didn't push, you just said something worth being curious about, and that curiosity did the rest. So let me give you some examples so you can feel the difference. So instead of saying, I'm a therapist specializing in anxiety, does it sound familiar to any of you? Do any of you, do work in this field? Yep. Okay. Great. You might say this instead. I help people stop being afraid of their own thoughts. Wait, what? Tell me more. Right? Or this. Right? Oh, well, hold on. I forgot to update the slide. It's supposed to say I'm a couples counselor. So excuse the slide. Forgot a little update there. So here we go. Think about saying this. I'm a relationship archaeologist. I help couples dig up what's actually going on underneath the fights about dishes. Right?
That's good.
Or who didn't take out the trash, whatever that is, because you're really digging into that, right? People go, I get that. That makes people's brains do a little double take. A relationship archaeologist, I see that you're digging and all of that, right? It's visual. Now, this is the one that I usually say. I'm a corporate communication trainer, but now I stop smart people from putting audiences to sleep. Because people hear that and they laugh. They lean in because they've probably been bored to death listening to someone else or they've been the boring speaker. So do y'all hear the difference between that? Every one of those examples I showed creates a little friction. And that
Hey
friction is the
Fern, in the
yes.
sorry, in just to update you in the chat, Portia put in the chat. She says she's branded as an emotional crossing guard.
I love that Portia. Yes, emotional crossing guard. I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. That's good. That's you're getting it. You're getting it. Yeah. So that's one of the things that you want to think about, right? Creating a bit of that friction because that friction is your door opening. Now, the wait what isn't really about being clever for the sake of being clever, right? You want to find that one interesting, slightly unexpected thing about your work. Like when you say an emotional crossing guard, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds really interesting. What does that mean? Immediately, I'm like, I want to know what that means. So you are opening up these questions in your mind, and then it creates curiosity. So you're leading with that instead of credentials, and that's all. But it takes a bit of a mind shift. Now, there are 4 structures that work with a wait what. You don't need all of them. You just need one that fits you. So I'm going to walk you through them. The first one is the unexpected title. So this is where you give yourself that title that captures the spirit of what you do, like that emotional crossing guard, right? So it's almost better than a real one. Don't think about your Psychology Today headline. So something that makes someone's brain do a double take, right? Like I'm a professional untangler. People come to me when their life is in knots and they can't figure out which thread to pull first. Or this, I'm an emotional translator. I help people figure out what they're actually feeling underneath the I'm fine. Right? So the unexpected title works because it creates this mismatch. They hear untangler or emotional translator, emotional crossing guard, and their brain goes, wait, can't be your real job title. Get it? But now they're curious, right? They're going to lean in and naturally going to say, tell me more. Now, the second one is the contradiction. This is where you smash 2 things together that don't seem like they belong together in the same sentence. Like this. I make talking about your feelings actually useful. Because let's be honest, a lot of people think therapy is just expensive complaining, right? This catches that assumption and flips it. This is so true in a Chinese community. Nobody wants to talk to therapists because it's like airing out your dirty laundry. You don't tell people all about this. Anyway, or this, I make vulnerability feel safe. You have 2 words, vulnerability and safe. And those usually don't go together in most people's minds. And that tension makes people want to know how you pull it off. Right? And one of my favorites is I help people get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that contradiction really works because it's almost paradoxical, right? It catches people off guard. Now, the third one, this is like a mystery statement. This one focuses on the problem you solve, framed in a way that makes people wonder how. I help people stop having the same fight for the 20th year in a row. Now, people hear and go, how? And are you talking about me? I just have the same fight with my husband about taking out the trash. Right? Or this one. I'm the person people call when they've tried everything and they still can't stop repeating the same pattern. What do you think? Does that pull you in more than I specialize in behavioral patterns and cognitive restructuring? Right? Because in my mind, it's like, this is language I can understand. Right? Or I help people stop running from their own mistakes. Right? It's short, it's vivid, it makes you want to know more. All right. Thank you, Brandon, for that. And then there's the metaphor. This one we borrow from a world that everyone understands and applies it to yours. So think of me as a GPS for people who feel emotionally lost. I don't tell you where to go. I help you figure out where you are.
By the way, I hope y'all are stealing these right now and taking notes. I know
Make it
I'm
your own.
taking
Make it.
notes
I made this just for you all, right?
because these are good, Fern.
Yeah. Or like, I'm a translator between you and your nervous system. People know what a translator does. They help you understand something that feels like a foreign language. So I want you to apply this to your own body and your own emotions, right? If it clicks, that's great. Like I'm basically a personal trainer for your brain. Right? I help you build mental muscles so you can handle life without falling apart. See, when I say I can picture it, I'm like, oh my God, my brain's doing reps, it's getting stronger. So you can use that. And when people can picture it in their minds, it's a lot easier for them to remember you. Right? So the metaphor works because it gives people that mental image. They don't need the clinical details. They already get it. So let's zoom out a little bit and look at all four and see what they all have in common, right? None of them actually explain the scope of what you do. They don't mention your license type or the modality. They just took an angle, the most interesting angle, and then led with that. Now you can fill out the rest later, but remember, the wait what is just has to open the door of curiosity. Now, before we get into writing some of these, just want to flag a few traps to see where I see people fall into, plus a couple of ones that are kind of specific just to therapists. The first one, if it's too cryptic. Now, there's a difference between intriguing and confusing. If somebody hears your wait what and has literally no idea what galaxy you work in, you've gone too far. So this is when you throw in the CBT, EMDR, all that sort of technical jargon that you know what it means to you, but to a layperson, they have no idea that CBT means cognitive brain therapy. Right? You should create a question, not that blank stare. Trap 2, if it's too long. If your wait what is like a paragraph, you're explaining instead of hooking. So you want to keep it short because remember that brevity is the soul of wit. People's attention spans are brutally short these days. Not that we know. People say like, oh, they have the attention span of a goldfish. How do you know? It's like, did you test the goldfish? But, it's about 7 seconds, right? So you got to like, get him good. And the other thing is something you wouldn't say. Right? This has to come out of your mouth to a real person. If it sounds great on paper, but you kind of cringe saying it at a dinner party, then it's not quite yours yet. I encourage you to say it out loud. If you stumble over it, then you got to either get your tongue around it or make something more native to how you would say it until it fits your voice. And then also being clever over honest. Right? Your best wait whats aren't the cleverest ones, they're just the most true ones. They're the ones where someone goes, wait, what? And then you explain what you do, and they go, oh, I get it. That's exactly what you do. So again, just be careful about also including words that are very jargony, like evidence-based, attachment style, somatic, cognitive distortions. Those are words I hear a lot of therapists use, and I'm like, what does that mean? What does somatic therapy mean, right? So you've lost the room. So those words mean something to you and your colleagues. Again, they mean absolutely nothing to the person who just wants to stop feeling like shit. So save the clinical language for the case notes and your consultation groups. So, and I know you probably work with a broad range of issues and a broad range of clients. And then you probably have me thinking, but I can't narrow it down. I see everyone from anxious teenagers to grieving widows. And I get that, right? But your intro doesn't have to describe everything you do. It just has to describe one thing vividly enough that the right person feels seen. And you can have different wait whats for different audiences. You're not getting a tattoo, right? You're just starting this conversation. So, y'all ready to give this a go? Would y'all like to try writing your wait whats? Okay. I'll give you 3 minutes because I want to make sure that if I give you 5 minutes, you'll all go on. So 3 minutes to write this wait what. So I want you to think about why do people struggle? What do people struggle with before they find me? And then what's the transformation that I create? And then what's the most unexpected part of what I do? So think about your client on the day before their first session, right? Don't think about the clinical presentation, that human moment. What were they doing? Are they sitting in their car in your parking lot? Are they almost driving away because they're like, I don't know if I want to be talking about my feelings? What are they rehearsing how to tell you something they've never said out loud? Were they Googling, is it normal to cry every day at 2 in the morning? Right? So that struggle. What do they usually struggle with before they work with you? Right? So those are like your raw answers that I want you to capture. Okay, so let me bring this down to 3 minutes. Go.
Right. I'm doing this myself. And we're picking on some people too, right, Fern?
Sure.
Side note, Tammy and Ebony, I'm picking on y'all too.
Ready.
You're ready. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. You all
Because
should
I
be
think
good
this
at
is
this.
truly great for everybody. This is so good, Fern.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. But let me not talk because you're all thinking. You're like, shh.
Be quiet.
I'm thinking of what to put down for my wait what? Okay. All right. So who would like to share? Like Alan said he was already gonna pick on some of y'all.
Right? I usually let people go first and then I'll start picking if nobody volunteers.
Who would like to be voluntold?
Ooh, Miss Portia, let's go.
Y'all know I have a problem sharing. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's-
Ready.
So
Let's
mine
hear it.
says, I am an emotional crossing guard. Everyone has blind spots and everyone has somewhere to be. Fear, anxiety, changes, and trauma are coming from everywhere. And that is the traffic. And as much as we might not like it, we have to navigate it safely to get to the places and the people who matter most to us. My work as a therapist is to guard your blind spots and help you safely cross from where you are in life to where you want or need to be. I will slow down the traffic and the noise around you, giving you the opportunity to focus on the crossing. It's not my journey, but it's my mission to help and support you.
Love that. That was like already like your full intro leading into the next part, which is great. So how did it feel saying it out loud?
I love saying it out loud. It always makes me emotional.
Yeah. So when you say, I love what you said about I'm like an emotional crossing guard because everybody has blind spots. Right. So that right there is your wait what? It's like because we all have blind spots and we can't see where we're going in that sense. So that's great. You know what? When we move on to the next section, then you can see how what you wrote already fills in a lot of that. That's what we want to do is just make it a little bit more succinct, that it is more natural and it flows out of your mouth like you're having a conversation.
Okay.
Well done, Portia. Woo.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Ooh, Brandon, what you got?
Why you gotta pick on me, man?
Because
This
I'm
is
interested to
hard.
know yours, man.
Because I'm still trying to figure it out. This is like really hard. Um, I'm stuck on. I was gonna start with I am a mirror, but I was trying to figure out how I can reflect that in what I'm saying. See what I did there? But yeah, I'm really struggling right now. But I'm thinking I'm overthinking it.
Yeah.
And well, what do you have down, Tiana? Do you have anything? What are your thoughts?
So I put that I am a personality wrangler. I help people sort out why they do what they do and build healthier relationships with themselves, their monies, and the people around them.
All right. No, that's good. That's good because again, you want to try saying out a few of these. You can have a few of these Weight Watch, right? So for me, it's like I have a few like, oh, I stop smart people from falling asleep, or I make people say things that actually stick in people's minds. So I try a few to see how the audience reacts, whether they give me a raised eyebrow or they go, huh? Then you know, right? Brandon, I think in your overthinking, you can just simply say, I'm like a mirror for your feelings. I reflect back what you feel. So you don't have to figure out, or something like that, right? So it's very clear and simple. We overcomplicate it because we're trying to add so much more. I'm like a mirror for your feelings.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. All righty.
Okay.
And Firm normally charges umpteen thousands for this game that y'all are getting.
Okay.
Just FYI.
Oh, you get the Alan Pruitt discount here.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you for the freebie. We hope we make you proud.
Please. Probably should have shared this. So here's some word bank for you, right? In case you need that. Oh, let me remove this clock. Okay, so these are some of the words that I think, if it helps you think about what can I use? Detective, fixer, wrangler, whisperer. That's a really good one. Whisperer, like the horse whisperer. Think about the baby whisperer, the dog whisperer. I'm the emotions whisperer. Whatever that is, right? Will this work for you? I'm always intrigued about the Sherpa. I'm not sure what a Sherpa would do. Okay. All right. So now we've got that, right? So we've got the wait what that opens the door, gets attention, earns the curiosity. Now what happens next? Somebody tilts their head. They're going, okay, wait, what does that actually mean? You are an emotional crossing guard, right? Now what do you say? Because if you nail your wait what, and then you fumble your follow-up, hey, you've just like create this cliffhanger with no payoff. And that's worse than being boring because now you've got their attention and you're wasting it. So that's where the second framework comes in. This is the tell me more. Y'all remember Grease, right? Tell me more, kind of like that. Okay, so this is the closer. So the intro gives you that intro that takes someone from being curious to convinced. Right? You want to go from that, ooh, that's interesting, or oh my God, I need to talk to you, or hey, I know somebody who needs this. So think of this as like more room to expand on your wait what, not long. And I'll say this again with love. For the love of God, don't put your entire professional bio in there and list all your credentials. It's just long enough to show someone that you understand that problem and you know how to help. So here's the structure of a three-part framework. It's simple, but the order matters. So don't rearrange this because there's psychology behind this that's doing the work that you don't see. So the first part is to name the pain. Open with that specific relatable moment of struggle that your ideal client has experienced. Not a category of pain, not a clinical concept, but a very specific moment. Something that they've lived through, something that makes them nod their head before you've even gotten to your second sentence. And this is where I want you to start with the, you know when. So, you know when you're lying in bed at 2 a.m. and your brain won't stop replaying every conversation you had that day, picking apart everything you said wrong? That kind of thing. Because you say that, and people who are tossing and turning in bed, replaying everything in their mind, they're gonna go, shit, that's me. Right? Now, this is the part where you kind of twist the knife gently. This part is really powerful, but it can be optional. This is the one line that names that consequence or the feeling that comes after the moment you name that pain. Now, you're not creating the pain, you're just acknowledging pain that already exists. Right? So, big difference. And then part 3 is how do you position yourself as the solution? And now and only now do you introduce what you do and the transformation you help create. So you don't list your services, none of that, not the modalities or your theoretical orientation, just the change. What shifts for someone after they work with you? Right? So that's it. The pain, the feeling, the solution. 3 moves, land the plane. Now, let me give you a quick explanation of why this order works, because I don't want you to just follow this template. I want you to understand it well enough that you can teach this to someone else. This is the gift of giving. You want to learn something well, teach it to somebody else, right? And you of all people, as therapists, should appreciate this, because again, this is what you basically do with your clients. You meet them where they are before you try to take them somewhere new. Now, when you lead with the problem, you're doing something most people never do in their intros. You're making it about them. So think about every boring intro that you've ever heard. What do they all have in common? They usually start with I'm a therapist. I specialize in this. I use client-centered approach. It's about me, me, me. But that's what we default to, right? It's natural. And I've done this many times too, but it doesn't quite work. Because here's what the listener's actually thinking when they hear I. What does this have to do with me? They don't care about your credentials. Not yet. They care about whether you understand their problem. So when you open with, you know when, you're flipping that completely. The first words out of your mouth is you. And the listener's brain is immediately going from passive to active. Right? So they don't evaluate you anymore. They're searching in their own memory going, wait, do I know that feeling? Have I been in that situation? And the more specific you are, the more likely the answer is yes. Now they're nodding. Now they feel seen. Right? They trust you a little bit more. And you haven't even told them what you do yet. And I know you know this. Again, this is literally what you do in therapy. You reflect, you validate, you meet your client in their experience before you try to intervene. And this is the same thing, but just in 20 seconds, aimed outward instead of inward. So you're going to use your clinical empathy skills on your own introduction. And it should feel really natural to you. This is not a foreign skill, it's your best skill redeployed. So by the time you say, I help people, they're already leaning in. You've earned the right to talk about yourself because you've proved that you understand their world first. So let's spend a bit of time on this pain hook, right? The you know when part, because this is the engine. Because if your you know when is weak, nothing after it's going to save it. But if this part is strong, the rest almost writes itself. Now, here's where I want to flag something for therapists. Your instinct is going to want to go clinical. You're going to want to say something like, you know, when you're experiencing symptoms of anxiety that interfere with your daily functioning, right? That's kind of how you write a treatment plan. But that's not how you start that conversation. Nobody wakes up at 2 a.m. thinking, I'm experiencing symptoms of anxiety that interfere with daily functioning. They're thinking, why the hell can't I stop worrying? What's wrong with me? Is this ever going to get better? Right, so let me show you, again, some difference between these hooks. So what makes a weak hook, what makes a strong hook? So here's a general one. You know when you struggle with anxiety, right? Again, anxiety is a huge category. It's super vague. Nobody identifies with a category, but people identify with moments. Let's do this. You know when you're at your kid's school play and instead of watching, you're mentally running through every worst case scenario about the meeting tomorrow. And then you feel guilty for not being present, which makes the anxiety worse. Y'all see the difference? That's a scene. You can see it. You've been that person. How many of you are parents here? Lord knows I am. How many of us are like, you know, kind of watching the school play, but then on our phones? Because we kind of like not really into the school play, right? Your stomach just tighten a little because you've lived some version of that exact moment. How about this one? You know when your relationship is struggling? Again, right? That's a concept, not a moment. How is it struggling? You know, when you and your partner are in the car and one of you says something small, barely even a thing, and suddenly you're in a full-blown fight and neither of you can explain how you got there. That's super specific. That's behavioral. And that's something people recognize in their bones. Right? So here's the key. States are abstract, but behaviors are visceral. When you describe that specific thing someone does when they're in pain, you know, they close the app or they rehearse the conversation in the shower, they lie awake staring at the ceiling, they toss and turn, they snap at their kids and then cry in the bathroom. That's when people feel like you've read their diary. Now, how do you find those moments, right? So again, think about your clients before they find you. Not the clinical intake, but that human story. Like we did earlier, right? What are they doing on this random Tuesday afternoon, Monday afternoon? What were they Googling at night? What were they complaining about to a friend over wine? What are they avoiding? You know, what is that final straw that made them finally pick up the phone and call you? Because the hook is, you know, somewhere in those answers, and the more specific sometimes, and sometimes even the more mundane is, you know, it's better. Like taking out the trash. You know, I don't know how many times I have to tell my husband. we all know that, right? We can all groan at that same thing. And then part 2, this is the knife twist, right? And this might be a bit uncomfortable for you because you're trained to hold space. You're trained to not agitate the pain. You want to soothe and not stir. So let me be clear about what this is and what it isn't. Right? You're not creating pain. Again, you're naming a pain that already exists. And again, you know how powerful it is when somebody finally puts words to the thing you've been feeling that you cannot articulate. So, Brandon, that be you, right? You're the mirror that reflects those feelings that you can help put into words. That moment in session when you say something and the client's eyes goes wide and they go, yes, that's exactly it. That is like your attunement, right? You do this every single day. You're just doing this in a different context. So your knife twist can be just that one line, maybe just a half sentence that describes what happens after the moment, the consequence, that feeling, the thing they never quite want to say out loud, but they always think, right? So, when someone asks you how you're doing and you say fine, but inside you're barely holding it together. Yeah, here's part 2. And you start to wonder if anyone actually sees what's really going on, or you've just gotten too good at pretending. Right? This works because it says that quiet thing out loud. I mean, how many of us have thoughts in our heads like, good God, I'd never say that out loud. Right? But you're going to articulate it for them. Right? Because when you name that, something clicks. They feel understood on a level that goes beyond that surface problem. But there is a line between empathy and manipulation. And I know you would never veer near that line because you're a therapist and but if your written word sounds like it could be followed by but wait, there's more. Right? Those infomercials, right? You got a little too far, so pull it back. Not an infomercial, right? You're not trying to make people feel worse so they need you more. You're just saying, I see you, I get it, and that's it. And this should come really naturally to you. This is what you do for a living. You just need permission to do it in your own introduction. And then finally, positioning your solution, right? This is when you get to talk about yourself. And by this point, they're practically begging you. They're thinking, okay, you clearly understand my problem that I don't communicate with my husband. Now, what do we do about it? Right? Now, this is also where you all can trip up a little bit because you want to list all your modalities. Yeah. You want to say, like, I'm doing integrative approach, combining CBT, ACT, somatic experiencing. Then it's all like, alphabet soup here. You want to mention those certifications, training, and I get that, right? And all that momentum you build in parts 1 and parts 2, they're just going to die a slow death of jargon. So I want you to think of this part as just one clear sentence about the transformation, not the process, not the modality, but the change. Because nobody cares how you do it. Not yet. They just care about what changes. They want to see what that happy ending looks like. Okay? So here's a structure that works. A few structures. You can go with I help who you work with go from the before state to the after state. Or I help who you work with do something specific so they can experience this other outcome. And you know what? You can also drop in the word finally to do some heavy lifting. I help people finally express their true feelings so they never get lost for words or whatever that may be, right? So let me bring this all together so you can see how this all comes together. You know when your kid has a meltdown and you've tried everything, the calm voice, the consequences, the counting to 10, and nothing works? And then you lose it too, and afterward you're sitting there feeling like the worst parent in the world? Well, I help parents understand what's really driving their child's behavior so they can respond in a way that actually works and stop beating themselves up in the process. Is this lighting up for anybody? Light bulb moments? Yeah? Okay.
Powerful.
Another one.
I reworked my thing while I'm listening and I'm working.
You go. Perfect. You know when you and your partner have the same fight over and over? It's the dishes or the schedule, but you both know it's about something deeper. And neither of you knows how to get back to it without blowing up. And then afterward, you just go to separate rooms and sit there wondering if this is just what your relationship is now. Well, I help couples slow down enough to hear what's actually being said underneath the argument so they can stop fighting about dishes and start talking about what really matters. Now, if any of you do relationship counseling, this one probably hits, right? Because you're describing probably the everyday mundane things that are those little things that niggle at you and then it breaks the straw. The final straw that breaks the camel's back. That's it. Right? And one last one. You know when you wake up and the first thing you feel before you even check your phone is dread? Not about anything specific, just this heavy, low grade hum that something is wrong. And you push through the day because that's what you do. But by the time you get home, you've got nothing left. I help people figure out where that weight is coming from and learn how to put it down so they can actually feel like themselves again. Now, do y'all see that rhythm? Everyone started with a listener's experience. You know when you've done this, right? And then everyone ended with a clear, specific transformation. You've got the pain, the feeling, and the solve. That's it, 3 beats. And notice the length. None of these took more than 20 seconds to say out loud, right? So, not a monologue, right? It's like that moment. You get in, you connect, you land the plane. And then they go, oh my God, tell me more. I need to talk to you. My brother needs to talk to you. Whatever that is. Right? So that's what you want to capture. Again, some common mistakes. If it's too vague. If your you know when could apply to literally every human on the planet, you know when life gets hard? That's not really doing it, right? The paradox is in the more specific the moment, the more universal it becomes and it feels. So you want to make sure the specificity is what makes people nod. It becomes too pitchy. Shoot for one transformation, one sentence. Don't give them the whole service menu, right? They're not ready for that yet. They just want to, you just need to connect with them before you can direct them to do what you want them to do. And then if it takes more than 30 seconds to say out loud, cut it. Remember, it's not a keynote. It's just a conversation. 3 to 4 sentences for you to open that conversation so they go, oh my God, that is like so interesting. Because what therapist ever introduces themselves this way? And then finally, again, too clinical. I'll say it one more time for the people in the back, right? If your solution sentence includes words like evidence-based, modality, therapeutic framework, all of these might require a master's degree to decode, I want you to rewrite it in everyday language. Your clients don't buy a modality, they buy that feeling, they buy relief, they buy hope. And that's what I want you to speak to. Okay, I'm mindful of time, so let's just zoom on out and have a look at your 2 intros, right? The wait what is your hook, and then the tell me more is your closer. So how would this work in real life? Just think of yourself as like you're in an event, somebody asks you what you do, you give them your wait what, I help people fire their inner critic, and then their eyebrows go up. They go, oh, what does that mean? Now you've earned your right to tell them more. So you name the moment they recognize, you describe the feeling that they've had, you tell them what changes when they work with you. And by the time you're done, they're thinking either one of these 3 things. I need this, I know someone who needs this, or I need to talk to you more. So you got 30 seconds, your 2 intros, and 1 real connection. And again, these are not tattoos, right? They're not written in stone. I want you to try them out. I want you to iterate as you go along. So this way, you're going to feel like which one works best for me. And every time you say it out loud to a real person, they get better, right? Cut what doesn't
And
work.
quick question, Brandon and Portia, do y'all do consults? Y'all do initial consults? No, sorry. I wanted for Brandon and Portia. I was questioning. I was wondering if they do consults with potential clients because this is.
There you go.
I think for you guys, this could be an approach in that initial consult as well to really want clients to, sign up and talk to you and, kind of hit home on those pieces. You know what I mean?
It's on my website and my Psychology Today profile. And often when people call me, they say, tell me about that emotional crossing guard part.
See, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Oh my gosh, Fern, this was so good. I want to please make sure to let people know how they can contact you, get in touch with you, tell them about your
Sure.
events you have coming up, please.
Yes. So I am super active on LinkedIn. So if you all, how many of you are on LinkedIn? Which you all should be because you all have like, okay, okay. So connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me drop um my profile in here so y'all can connect with me. And also shoot me an email so this way I can put you on my mailing list so I can let you know about when my
Please
next.
get on Fern's mailing list. Her newsletter you guys know we talk about newsletters. Fern's newsletter is absolutely amazing. So
You're
please
very
be
kind.
sure to get on connect with her on LinkedIn, get her on her email list as well.
So if y'all want my slide deck, feel free to email me and I'll send it to you. So here's a good one for you, right? So connect with me because I love to see how you guys do. You're such a unique group of individuals because you're therapists. You already know how to hone in on people's emotions. We just suck at doing it for ourselves. Ain't that the truth, right? So how many of you found value from today's session?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So Portia, I know you already got your emotional crossing guard. So what's the one takeaway for you? What's the one light bulb moment?
Um, to keep the formula, right? Keeping the formula to me helps it be replicatable, regardless of what it is. Because sometimes I'm presenting for individual therapy, sometimes it's corporate wellness, sometimes it's something else. So keeping that formula.
Okay, great. How about you, Tammy? What's your takeaway?
Takeaway is to keep everything in perspective and not give all the services at one time. And then the second thing is to connect with their with a human specific human experience.
I know, right? Somewhere along the way, we forgot that part. We worked so hard on getting our credentials and all of that. That's what we want to go with. We want to go with our credibility. But guess what? That doesn't connect. It's the human aspect. Naming that pain. I see you. I know what it feels like to be tossing and turning. I know, right? Why you feel guilty as a parent because you're not present at your child's concert or football game. So those are the things I'm like, oh God, who's on the sidelines checking their emails, right? Yeah.
And then
Brandon, what's your
yeah, I was gonna say,
takeaway?
Brandon, you got one, and then I know we gotta jump after that, but what's yours,
Yes, yes,
Brandon?
yes, yes. Let's
My
wrap
one
it up.
is not to forget that the front facing people care more about the what as opposed to the how. They care about more, what you're gonna do, and they don't care too much about like how you're going to do it as long as you give me the results.
Yes. If I leave you with one last thing, right? Always tune in to your audience's favorite radio station. Alan, can you repeat after me? WIIFM. What's in it for me? So if you remember,
It's
what
good.
is the thing
What's in it for
that makes
me?
them want to lean in and listen? They got to know what's in it for me. And if you've tapped into all those human stories that I just taught you, you're gold.
Fern, you are an absolute powerhouse and you absolutely lived up to it. So thank you so much. Please connect with Fern, y'all. And we're going to put this recording in the community too. So you'll probably get other people watching it. But we will definitely be talking soon. And remember, the sooner you get to your dream practice, the longer you get to enjoy it. And we're here to help you every step of the way. Y'all have a blessed Monday. Bye, y'all. Thanks
Bye.
again, Fern.
You're welcome.